Educational GMAT. Your partner in your GMAT journey.
Interesting one. Yeah, let's just, how do you read it as in? Yeah. We'll discuss in detail. At the end of last semester, all 33 students, 11 students from each of the three sections, and obviously these sections are section A, section B, section C, were asked how many hours per week they spent studying for the course. This data was combined with the number of points earned by each student in the course. So x-axis is number of hours studied per week for that particular course, and y-axis is the points earned. So this data was combined with the number of points earned by each student in the course. So essentially the way you read this is that there are 33 students. So if you look at it, there are basically 30, the data for each of the 33 students is plotted, right? For example, let's take this student. What does this data represent? And someone tell me, what does this data point represent? Sorry? No, yes. This student belonged to section A. This student studied 3 hours per week, and this student ended up getting, let's say, around 630 points. Correct? Similarly, this student belonged to section B, studied 6 hours per week, and ended up getting, let's say, 760 marks, 760 points. So similarly, the data for each of the 33 students is presented. Grades in the course were calculated using a 20-point scale. To compute the grade, the number of points earned, notice this is the number of points earned, the number of points earned in the course, the number was divided by 50 and then rounded up to the next whole number. Now, this is perhaps the most important thing here. The number of points earned in the course was divided by 50 and then rounded up to the next whole number. So this is the method that was deployed to compute the grade. Just so that we are on the same page, for example, this particular student, can you tell me what was the grade of this student? What was the grade of this student? Yes. So the how many number of points did this student earn? How many points did this student earn? Around, let's say 670, correct? So 670 was first divided by 50, right? So 670 was divided by 50. So that gives us 13.4. And then it was rounded up to the next whole number. So this person earned a grade of 14. Are we clear? So this is how the grade was computed. Okay, now let's look at the statement, question statement. If a student who received a grade of 19 or 20 is randomly selected. Now, grade, this is the grade 19 or 20. What does it mean in terms of points earned? Sorry. Now, that's the thing. When will a student get a grade of 19? When will that student grade get a grade of 19? Remember, there is a rounding up also going on, correct? So the moment, when will a grade be rounded up to 19?
It's 18 point something.
18 point something, absolutely. Even when it is 18.001, it gets rounded up to 19, right? Normally 18.001 would get rounded up to 18, but this clearly says that it's always rounded up to the next whole number. So the moment a grade exceeds 18, it gets rounded up to 19. Correct? Now 18 would correspond to how many points earned? Absolutely 900 points, right? Because we 18 into 500, sorry, 18 into 50, which is 900. Agreed? So a student will receive a grade of 19 or 20 if a student earns points greater than 900, right? Now, can you tell me, based upon this graph, how many students earned points greater than or more than 900? How many? 900, right? This is a 900. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Total of 9 students, right? So student receiving a grade of 19 or 20, total of 9 students qualify, right? If a student is selected randomly out of these 9 students, the question is just asking us what's the probability that the student selected was in section C. Now, out of these 9 students, how many are in section C? Very nice. 1, 2, 3, 4. Correct? 4 of them are in section C. Now, how do you find out probability? We already discussed it. Only one formula for probability. And what is that formula? Number of ways in which desired outcome can happen divided by total number of possible outcomes. How many are the desired outcomes here? 4. What are the total number of possible outcomes? 9. So what's the probability? 4 by 9, which is 0.444. Right? What is the constraint, by the way? The constraint is these are the students, right? That would have a grade of 19 or 20. Out of these students, out of these 9 students, right? Out of these 9 total number of possible outcomes, if we are choosing one, what is the probability that the student belongs to section C? So section C number of favorable outcomes is 4 because 4 students belong to section C. Clear? So 0.444, 4 by 9. Okay. Then I think this should not be difficult. Which section has the greatest range of grades? Very nice. How did you arrive at A? Range is obviously maximum minus minimum, right? That defines the range. So if we look at it, students of section A, right? We are talking about essentially range of grades would correspond to the range of points earned. So students of section A have scored very few points and have also scored significant number of points. So which means the range, right? The range is clearly the maximum for section A. Maximum minus minimum. That's how the range is calculated. So this is the maximum that a section A student has earned. This is the minimum that section A student has earned. So that range is the maximum for section A for any student. Right? For example, if we look at section C, minimum is this and maximum is this. So that would be the range for section C. Similarly, section B would be minimum is this and maximum is this. So that is how you calculate the range for section B. So clearly the range for section A is the maximum. All right.